Welcome. Today I'm going to share with you my biggest takeaways from 2023. Hustling every day, constantly trying to recreate oneself, and I'm going to share that all with you in this video, the major takeaways. Now, who am I? My name is Gill, owner of Fit Boss Coaching. Fit Boss Coaching is a company where we help men regain their health in very time efficient and effective manners, specifically for career-driven men who have a lot of ambition, a lot of responsibility, but still want to make sure that they're not neglecting their health. I myself went from a very shy, reserved individual growing up, totally out of shape, lack of confidence, to then transitioning into music, where I learned classical piano, was going totally the music route, but then got obsessed with fitness because it totally transformed me, and that became my passion to where I've been teaching it now for over 7 years. So I just want to share with you essentially my biggest takeaways of personal transformation throughout the last 2023 that I have been doing myself as I continue to run and grow this business and help and influence more people. So I want to share that with you because it's made a profound change in my life and how I think to constantly take it to the next level. So hopefully you get some value out of this. Let me open up the notebook. I recommend you always have a notebook in you. You journal your thoughts, put them out in writing. So number one is the first lesson, is to focus on the reality that you want. Whatever our focus is directed on will typically tend to grow. And that goes both for negative things and that goes for positive things. So it's very easy nowadays when you look around you that people focus on either what they don't have or things that bother them. And no wonder why that continues to grow and get worse, right? So you have to become a master at being able to constantly put your attention on the life and the reality that you want, because then you're going to be seeing more opportunities. You're going to be creating the energy and the vibration within yourself required to even create that reality around you. Okay, so you have to have extreme intention with your focus and where you place it, because nowadays you'll be looking on apps and everyone's trying to grab your attention for their incentive. So you need to be very, very skilled at being able to block out and remove and singularly focus on the reality that you want. Second extremely important lesson that I learned is that your outer reality is typically a mirror of also your inner world too. Now let me explain. Have you ever had an issue with someone to where they just were never really acting the way that you wanted them to act, or they weren't doing the thing that you wanted, and you continue to get spiteful about it? And no matter what you do, no matter what you try, it just never seems to come around, and they just keep meeting you back, that same agitation that you have, and it just doesn't work out well. This happens in relationships, this happens with employees. I would challenge you to instead look at the other person and be like, they aren't acting how I want. Look at maybe the energy you are putting off and how that could be responsible for the way that they are now reacting to you. Okay? Because at the end of the day, you're in control with the energy that you bring to the table. And we are very intuitive creatures. We can sense it. When someone comes at you extremely aggressive, it's easy to meet them back with aggression. Right? So when you come at someone annoyed, you expect them to come back at you with peace and love. Now, someone who does obviously has extreme emotional control, but the majority of the world, not so much. And this is something that is, even myself, I have to constantly challenge myself and be like, okay, well, maybe it's me. Maybe that's a reflection of me. They aren't doing the finer details that I want them to do in this job position. Am I not doing the finer details? Am I missing out on things in my life? And is that coming off and reflecting to them, and they're just modeling off me? Extremely, extremely important to look at yourself and ask yourself that. So whenever there's an energy or something seems off, or you just don't like the energy of that person, maybe you're putting that out as well. Now, the third lesson that was incredibly important to me, which is to listen to the inner voice. That voice that tells you what you know you should be doing that you ignore. When you wake up and you know you should get up, and there's a thought that's like, oh, I should probably get up right now, and then you don't. You don't listen to it. All right? The voice that when you're going out to eat with a bunch of friends, part of you knows you shouldn't be ordering that cheesecake, but you do. Even though the voice is telling you, oh, this just doesn't really fit the plan. You ignore it. And people do this and they accumulate all of these moments to where they keep ignoring that voice. But that voice is telling you the truth. to the subconscious mind. It's your higher self. It's your best version of you calling you to pull you up into that best version, to step into it. So you need to trust to start listening to that voice more and stop ignoring it. Everything that you have or that you want in your life that you don't have, you most of the time know the things you should be doing. We've got information, we've got plenty of information, a large abundance. Yet for some reason, people just don't act on it. They don't act and don't create that reality. Because you choose to ignore the voice that's telling you what you should be doing, and you're not stepping up to it. And this year, in my personal life, I've really started listening to that voice. And I can tell you right now that it has served me in every way possible. I'm living much more in alignment and congruence with the kind of man that I know that I am. And it builds a lot of confidence and self-esteem because your thoughts and your actions are completely in alignment. And most people have confidence and self-esteem issues nowadays because they don't align their thoughts, that voice, and their actions. Their actions are a mismatch. And that's why you don't feel confident, because you can't even stick to your own word. And then you expect to build a business, you expect to influence other people. You can't even influence yourself. These are simple concepts, but if you really utilize these throughout your day to day, you will shift your entire reality. Entire reality. Incredibly important lesson. Lesson number 4. Find time for your tribe. This is where connection, number 1, is built. It's important as humans to have that. And also perspective, strategy. There's an opportunity to look at things different. So a big part of my life this year as well has been getting around different people, taking in different ideas, and dedicating time to that. Really investing into it. It can be easy to be a lone wolf nowadays with the hustle mentality. Work all day, every day. But if you work all day, every day with the mindset and the lack of information that is necessary to get your goal, then you're working towards something that's not really getting you the actual result that you want. You're doing the wrong actions. It's most likely why, if you're watching this and you still don't have what you want and you're just hustling and you're not improving, it's probably just because you're working on the wrong things. You don't even realize it. Because you don't have the perspective. So dedicate time to building connections with people, looking at things differently. You get a lot of emotional fulfillment as well out of this too. This is a major key to my personal development this year in looking at things differently, because I was exposed to new ideas and people who I necessarily didn't expect myself to hang out with so much, because I'm very much in that business, hustle, fitness, put your head down, grind mode. But then I was exposed to a totally different reality of spirituality, and not to the essence that most people think and they cringe when they hear it, but really being able to connect to a higher source, a higher power, to then act from a place of no limitation and utilizing that. But I never would have had that perspective had I not built those connections. So you must get out of the comfort zone and do that. Be valuable to humans. Hang out with humans. Help them out. Take in different perspective. Number 5, spend more time in the now. You're ultimately more productive and tuned in. Stay conscious. What do I mean by that? Me personally, growing up, I overthought everything. I was always trying to think about logically about everything, and instead of just acting on what I knew was right, I would keep trying to look through every scenario, and sometimes it's just better to listen. This is a situation right now, just act. Act. Just do it and adjust. But when you're not here and you're not present, you can't pick up on that. You can't listen to your intuition so much. You're going to have a blurred understanding because you're not here. You're not in reality. You're in a false reality. So living in the now allows you to be extremely in tune with intuition and being able to pick up the energy in the room. and make the right decisions. And when you can live life moment by moment with the filter of what's the next best thing to do now. Well, if you just keep stacking that, you're ultimately going to be more productive. That's the paradox. Because you think you need to have everything mapped out, but there's too many variables. You can have a map, sure, but if you spend too much time trying to continue to map with no action, you're not going to go anywhere. So I found it extremely valuable to now trust that my intuition, when I'm here now and I'm thinking about the next best thing to do, and I'm very much paying attention to this moment, and I'm not stressing myself out about future circumstances that haven't even happened yet, and I'm putting myself through that experience multiple times, creating unnecessary stress when it should have only happened once. Now I can just put my attention here, be calm, and actually do a good job at what I'm doing right now, which will then affect and produce better results in the long run. I personally found that extremely valuable when it comes to business. Lesson number 6, live from a place of service. You're ultimately more fulfilled. It's very easy nowadays to fall into consumerism and trying to please oneself. Very easy to be, I want this, I want that, coming from a place of lack. What that does is it affects your state, it affects your current state, which then affects your current actions, which then affect your future outcomes. When you come from a place of service though, you are full and you're giving. You've got it all already. It's not about your selfish desires, it's actually about serving and giving to other people from a place of fullness already. I have everything I need, now let me give to you. And if you can operate every day with this filter, you wake up, how do I serve the world today? What do I need to do? It forces you immediately to up your game, be on your game, and do all the things necessary to be very extremely productive so you can be the best version of yourself for other people. So naturally you fulfill your selfish desires without even needing them. And then you also help other people, which just does good in the world, and good karma comes back. So coming from the place of service actually is a win-win. It's an extremely strong mental framework. Extremely strong. When you come from that place of selfish desire only, people pick up, they don't want to be around you. You focus on everything you don't have, so you're unhappy. Things just don't tend to go well. It's a very lonely life, unhappy life. Coming from a place of service is extremely fulfilling. Extremely fulfilling. So I live every day now with that lens, that filter, and I can tell you right now, there's a direct correlation with the quality of life that you do have and your experience of the process. I'm extremely more productive and I'm extremely more fulfilled ever than when I'm just coming from a place of selfish desires. Not that you can't have those, but shift your focus. Number 7, your only limitation is yourself. Whatever it is that you believe will come true. So choose wisely. If you truly believe that you're the best at sales, you're going to come in with an attitude that's going to make you, in your world, the best. It will completely shift your reality and the energy and vibration that you put out. And your reality will then start to form around that, because people will perceive you different because of your energy. So, yes, whatever you believe will come true. If you believe that things won't go your way, you're going to come with a negative attitude. That's how you're going to be perceived by the world, and they're going to treat you that way because you believe it yourself. If you don't believe you are worthy of love, you enter a relationship and someone truly does love you, and you don't even believe you're worthy of love, you're going to find a way to sabotage it because, wait a second, no, it's just a matter of time till they see that one thing about me to where they won't love me because I'm not worthy of love. You don't believe you're worthy of love, therefore you're going to find ways to ruin it when someone does because you don't think you're worthy of it, therefore they can't love you. It's not true. So you're going to create a reality around that belief. So why not choose one that serves you? No matter how unrealistic it seems, that's not the point. The point is to create a belief that makes your life ultimately better, that serves you. I'd rather have a belief that makes my life better than be technically right over such a small thing. So don't allow people to bring you down with those little technicalities. Yes, I'm the best. I am the best. If I treat it that way, I'm going to approach it that way, and I'm going to create results. I'm going to create that mentality, and I'll be perceived better. I'll be perceived like I am the best. People will believe it because my energy is it's conveying it. If I don't think I'm worthy, I'm going to walk around head down. I don't believe that I'm worthy. Head down. I'm not going to take those opportunities. I'm not going to speak to that person. I'm not worthy. And then your reality will form around that. And it will become true. So choose wisely. I've had close people in my family do this their whole life. They believe the reality based on fear. Off of a previous life experience, they brought it into the now because they believed that that would keep happening. And it did, because they put that energy out. Be very mindful of that. Be very mindful. And that goes into the next point. We all have old narratives, lesson number 8. We all have old narratives that we hold on to. Make sure you're extremely aware. Pay attention, put them in the spotlight, understand where they came from, so you can start rewiring it. For example, growing up, I mentioned in the start of this video that I was an extremely shy kid. Particularly, I felt very left out, especially in groups. I never felt deserving. I always felt like I was the one who was just kind of, oh, I guess he's in the group. He's like the third wheel of the group. I literally was in a friendship. I had a very close friendship with one guy in particular. And then I developed one with someone else, and I brought him in. It was kind of like a trio, all three of us. And they ended up kind of forming together, and I was left out, right? That happened once, and then it actually eventually happened again. Why? Why was this happening? Because after it happened once, I held on to it. And I brought it with me. So now when it happened again, I was paranoid. I put that energy out. They thought it's like, oh, this guy's kind of weird. He always seems like paranoid and insecure, and I don't want to be around that. And then it recreates. That's how the reality then formed again. And what you'll notice is that you'll tend to bring this around with you. And you have to be extremely aware when those things do come up. So let's say you have that trigger again. You have to stop. You have to recognize, okay, this is it. This is the old narrative. This is the subconscious programming that's happened. Let me realize it's not true. This moment is a new moment. It has nothing to do with the past. So I can choose right now entirely to recreate the narrative. And you have to keep doing this every single time it's brought up until you truly do rewrite the narrative. You habituate the new actions to create the new narrative. You completely get rid of the old one. Eventually you reprogram the subconscious mind. All these associations that you have. This is what runs most people's life. It ran mine for a long time. Free. Because of awareness. Learning from individuals who are extremely qualified in their field. And it's different to what, obviously I've got a fitness business. It's all gym and nutrition. But when you can actually look outside of that and you learn from different perspectives, you can bring it all together and realize how it's all one big piece of personal development. So understand that about yourself. Look at your own narratives. Are you bringing them with you? They don't have to be true. You can rewrite. Every moment's a new moment. So start bringing conscious awareness when those triggers come up, and then rewrite the narrative with new actions. And then that's going to create your new self. It's as hard as you make it. You can make it hard or extremely easy. Number 10. It's important to control your state and keep flow. Personally find your state will influence your behaviors. For example, if I'm feeling low and upset, I'm down, I'm not going to be in the right headspace to be making smart business decisions and so on and so forth. So it's important you manage your state, you pay conscious attention, and you incorporate activities throughout your day that can constantly keep you in a good state. Exercise is a prime example. Me personally, I do it right in the morning. I wake up, I have my meal, I go hit the gym, I pumped my state up, and now I'm ready to go through the day and just absolutely kill it. Not that I can't without it, but it's just a way that I manipulate my state. I incorporate breath work to release tension throughout my body that's affecting me, right? If I'm walking around tense and closeted up, bad posture, I'm gonna feel like shit. So I like to open up and release and fix my posture, fix my state. When I'm starting to feel a dip in energy, or I'm getting a bit too, I can feel that the state's coming down after a long intensive work session, I step away, go talk with friends, go for a walk, pump my state back up, go revisit the work again and keep the flow. So I'm constantly in a state of managing my state and keeping a flow. And that's where I can really get deep work done. And sometimes it's better to do shorter amount of time with work, but better quality. You got to understand what those tipping points are for you to then incorporate a state pumping activity to keep your flow going. This is how, when I teach peak performance to my clients, we look at these things, how you're going about the day, how we can manipulate certain things to keep that going, keep that momentum and productivity and that focus and mental clarity throughout the day. It's extremely important, especially when you're entrepreneurial and you're really trying to build something that requires a lot from you. You're wearing a lot of hats and you need to constantly be on and have energy. It's extremely important to operate this way. Otherwise it's gonna be very hard. You're gonna try to do more tasks and it's just too overwhelming. You get tired, stressed. You're gonna get overwhelmed. It's tough if you're living that way. 11, this is interesting. So I wanna give you a little story. Part of my previous point of connecting with people in a different space is I connected with a lot of people who are very, in a way, spiritual. They're very connected with the world energetically. They listen to that deep inner consciousness, that voice in their head. And they are very in tune. They can read people very well, and they're very much into that world of things, spirituality. And it's so interesting. One of these guys, he'll come up to you, he's just got such a strong presence. He'll come up to you and he'll just say something random, like, he'll look at you with incredibly serious eyes. You've never met the guy. He's like, I have a message for you, but you need to be ready to hear it. You're like, what the fuck? And he would just be like, something told me, like up above, like your father, he wants me to tell you that he's proud of you. He just penetrates right through it. Boom. Straight to the heart. Okay. How did he know that I had things going on with my dad? Right? And he would keep doing this, and he does this with everyone. He just listens to his inner voice, and he will come up and he will just spit truthful facts and incredible insights to people without even like truly knowing them. He's just in tune. I know a lot of people can think it's woo-woo, but it's very interesting because he's been extremely accurate every time, even with friends of mine. And something that he mentioned to me, which was, you're in your head a lot, you need to lead from the heart more. You've got a very strong heart, but you closed it off out of fear, and you're headstrong. But you now need to allow this to open up, your heart energy, and allow that to now be your driving force along with this. And those words really hit me strong because it's true. Growing up, I had a lot of pain, family-wise, socially. And I closed off, you know. I got very afraid of expressing myself and being vulnerable. So I wanted to be tough, cover up. But as I learned to lead from the heart more, open up, really put my passion and my true emotion into what I'm doing, be authentic, it hits harder. Even my message hits stronger. When I work with the clients, when I talk with people and I'm truly passionate about something and not being afraid to open up and communicate that, more impact is being done. I can see it, I can feel it. I know the difference, and it's true. So something extremely valuable that I learned is to lead from the heart. Lead from the heart. True intention. Don't be afraid to express it. That's that true, authentic version of yourself that people are really going to resonate with or not resonate with. And that's totally fine. But it's you and it's real. And I think nowadays, in a time where people aren't real, it's incredibly craved. So that's something extremely profound that I've started doing, and I've noticed direct impact with just the level of influence that I'm capable of simply by expressing my true thoughts, true feelings on whatever matter that I'm talking about. How you perceive things, number 11, will determine your experience in reality. If you look at challenges like learnings, it's a positive experience. Everyone plays a game they define by their own rules. So to play the game at another level, you must think differently. We all have the same amount of time. We all have plenty of resources, assuming you're in a first world country and things are good, yeah? So why is it that some people, it's incredibly hard and, just lucky them, they just got these opportunities, and not me? Well, there are people who've had it worse than you, guaranteed, who've created a better lifestyle, better life for themselves. Why? They view the world different. Completely different belief systems that they operate by. They don't limit themselves. So it's important that you understand this. And everything that we perceive, it's really, we can attach our own meaning to it. So why not attach meanings that serve you? There are moments in my life where truly I don't typically get upset to a degree of, say, incredible sadness and so on and so forth. Like, I don't personally identify with being depressed or anything like that. But there's been moments where I felt quite low. But I perceive those events as they happened as a challenge. Specifically in my car at one moment, I just remember, I was like, throw me more, continue. Take another thing away from me. All right? It was never mine. But let me show you how I can use this event to propel me even further. You're just building my strength now. This is strength training. So my perception of everything was flipped, and I reframed everything. How I view the world. How I view certain circumstances that most people would view as a negative thing, where I view it as positive. I view it as a learning lesson. This is how you can really create something great. Because most people aren't capable of doing that. And that's how you create exceptional circumstance. And there's a reason why some people live a completely different reality than you and lifestyle than you, because the way they view the world is completely different than you, therefore their results are completely different. So don't expect the same results if you view things differently. Your reality will be different. Your actions will be affected differently based on your viewpoints. This is an interesting one. I only started exploring this recently, but physicality is also connected to the mental state. So be aware of your posture. A friend and I recently started hosting these events for Soul, S-O-L. And essentially, there's a great network here who comes every single week. We talk about a topic, then we connect, we get lunch, so on and so forth. Met this one guy, and he's talking about the spine and its relation to emotions. And essentially, when we feel a certain emotion, let's say, I'll use a dog as an example. When a dog is scared, what does it do? It tucks its bum, its tail in between the legs. There's that posterior tilt. So there's a direct correlation with the fear they experience to their spinal positioning as a protective mechanism. So now that we know they're connected, we have to understand that this can affect our emotions, the positioning of our spine. Now, nowadays in the modern world, humans attach and they bring that with them. Like in reality, when that dog's scared, it's a temporary position for whatever circumstance that was. It lasts 10 to 15 seconds. What we do as humans is that with continuous stresses and so on and so forth, we just hold the position. And we don't go back to we don't go back to this. And even now I'm still working on it, and I'm even aware that during this video I was a little bit like this, when in reality, if I'm really paying attention, I want to be like this, opened up. It's the natural position of the spine, all right? It should be like this, butt is not tucked under, great posture, open. Energy is allowed to flow through. If I'm closed up and blocked, this is the position people, when they're scared, when they're feeling upset, they keel over. You can look at people and you can look at their posture, and they're like hunched and rounded over. And naturally when you look at them, you're like, wow, that person's like, you can tell they're struggling. And their posture is a direct representation of it. So bringing extreme awareness to that and understanding that, hey, your body has habitually now learned to keep putting itself in these positions. That's also affecting your emotional state as well, right? If I'm always operating like this, even though I'm not technically scared, it's a lot harder for me to try to speak up, be confident. I'm like this, literally. It affects my confidence. Confident guy, but it's still very hard to, whereas I'm like this, it's completely different. So bringing awareness to that and constantly trying to monitor and adjust. It feels uncomfortable in the beginning. Little cue is to rotate the sternum up towards the cheekbones. Yeah, just allow your shoulders naturally to fall back and lead by the chest. My neck, don't let it hunch forward. You're scared. Bring it back. So it's nice and aligned. Not too tucked, just slight lead through the chest. Naturally your back it won't tuck under. It'll extend slightly the other way. That's how you're gonna be. And it's funny because this is actually a very structurally strong position. So when you go to lifting and you're bringing this posture in, you're also stronger. It's how our body wants to be in its natural state. Obviously through a lot of fears that humans have with terrible posture sitting and scared of everything, scared of speaking up, expressing opinions and so on. People forget. So bring it back, because if you can bring it back and you're spending your time here, you're less scared. You're gonna make more confident moves, you're gonna speak up. It's gonna completely affect your outlook on life because your emotions are completely different. Therefore, it's gonna affect your actions and recreate a whole new reality based off of an unlimited potential self. So simple, but so powerful. It's really changed a lot for me. I used to have a lot of fear talking loud, and I always felt tightness in my throat. You know, growing up, I used to be scared of speaking up. And it was strange because logically, I know I could speak up, but for some reason it still felt tough because everything's closed up. The moment I just focus on this posture, come back and just breathe through it, there's no problems. I haven't struggled with throat tightness basically ever since. Wild. 14. Be clear with your intentions and commitments. Your confidence is correlated to your adherence. So you need to be very clear with what you're trying to do, where you're trying to go, and what that's going to entail. Otherwise, you're going to feel very scattered. Me personally, if I don't have that very clear and I'm not actively doing it, I'm not intentional at every moment, going back to what I previously said, living in the now, and I'm just going about my day, talking, getting distracted, people are chatting with me, and I'm not really intentional about my actions, all of a sudden I just don't feel good. I just don't have the same confidence and aura when I walk around to be my best self. I'm not intentional, I'm scattered, and my actions start to misalign with my thoughts. So be very intentional in a world where there's plenty of distractions, and sometimes that requires you to spend a bit more time by yourself. Sometimes it requires you to just plug your earphones in and get to work. It requires you to build your level of discipline and focus to get things actually done and be intentional and think. You need to think. You don't just do, you think. You gotta think about the next best move and do. Be intentional. Know what you're trying to do. Rather than get up and what am I gonna do today? And sure, there's always exceptions to the rule, but if you can spend majority of your time being present in the now, but also intentional and creating the space to be clear in your intention, you're going to get a lot done. And last 15 is to credit to Wes Watson, by the way. This one really hit me. Don't move fast, move correct. Speed is important. Speed of implementation, but not any faster than it needs to be, otherwise you're going to slip. You're going to do it not so well. So move correct. Moving correct is the right amount of speed, but also the right amount of attention to detail. And I find when you try to move too fast, you get impatient and you start losing sight. It's too unbalanced and too scattered. So move correctly, even if that means a little bit slower, but setting the foundations up correctly, building the base of that pyramid, strong foundation, to then create a higher peak, because you did it correctly. You don't have to keep redoing it every time. Big thing, especially in business, you don't set the foundations up before you scale. Making sure everything's in place and it's strong. It's going to crumble when you try to push scale, because none of the procedures are set in place to even be able to manage that. So don't move fast, move correct. And it's the same with lifting. You move too fast. You start doing technique that's not efficient, develop imbalances, injuries. And that goes essentially hand in hand with being intentional. You got the intention and then you're moving correctly. Man, you're going to create some good things. So, these are essentially the main takeaways. And it's interesting because I've got a fitness business, but a lot of the takeaways that I had from 2023 was just more personal development. And that's beautiful, because personal development is going to affect everything that you do. It's affecting your character. It's character building. When you can build your character and operate from that place of extreme clarity and efficiency, no distraction, you can create so much. You can create an amazing body, you can create an amazing business, you can create amazing relationships. Being able to really be calibrated, increase that self-awareness within yourself, and just become better every single day. So you're going to make 2024 an amazing year. And that's why I wanted to share this with you. It's a way for me to look back and look at the differences, and then also hopefully impact you, even if you just got one thing. And remember, if you didn't implement anything from this video, you didn't learn. So make sure to learn. Like Alex Hormozy says, you need to change your behavior after taking in this new information. So pick something most relevant to you and start actually implementing and actioning. And this is truly how you can make your life change. Everything that I showed you is after years of doing the fitness stuff, the business stuff. But it's so important because the character development is the foundation underneath all of it. It's your production output, and it's the way that things are getting done. You're the creator, so make sure that you are strong, you're right, and everything else will be right. I hope that helps. Happy New Year. Enjoy your 2024. Live every day extremely present and just seek to maximize every day. If you can do it like that and you compound that over and over again, best intentions, best course of action, staying present, congruent, authentic, constantly working through self-awareness, improving, getting better, and you just rinse repeating that, you're going to become incredibly powerful. Very hard to beat. Hope it helps. Going to sign out. Happy New Year. Instagram, socials, 12-week weight loss challenge, links to all of it, if you're interested, in the description below. Signing out.